With new 2026 airport rules, one small mistake can get you denied boarding. Watch until the end to learn 11 must-know changes. Real ID, medications, security, pre-boarding, wheelchair assistance, and hidden passenger rights that can save your trip. Today we need to talk about something that honestly keeps me up at night. As of 2025-2026, airport ID and security rules have tightened in a way that is hitting older travelers the hardest. And I am seeing seniors turned away at the checkpoint or gate for problems that were 100% preventable. Not because they did anything wrong, but because nobody clearly explained the new reality to them. You might be thinking, I've been flying for decades, I know how this works. And you're probably right, for the old rules, but the environment has changed. Real ID enforcement is real now. Airlines are stricter about medical clearance. In certain situations, TSA is more careful with baby's medications and equipment. Boarding and special assistance policies are being enforced more systematically. If you show up the way you always have, without adjusting to these changes, you could be denied boarding or miss a critical flight. Not for something dramatic, just for not knowing the new expectations. This isn't theory. This is what actually happens at airports. Recently, I watched a man in his early 70s miss his daughter's wedding because his ID didn't meet the updated federal requirements. He arrived early, did everything he thought was right, and still never got on that plane. I do not want that to be you or someone you care about. If you want more TMI practical travel and immigration guidance, straight from people who live this every day, subscribe to Immigration Updates Hub. Right now and tell me in the comments, are you over 70 and planning a trip? Or are you helping a senior traveler get ready? I read your comments and used them to decide what to cover next. Now let's get into the real value. I'm going to walk you through my 11 critical things you need to understand before you set foot in an airport in 2026. These are not vague tips. These are things that can literally decide whether you board or get left behind. We'll break them into 3 parts. 1. Pre-flight and documentation. 2. At the airport, security and boarding. 3. Accessibility and special services. Part 1. Pre-flight and documentation. 1. The Real ID Reality Check. No, you can't ignore this anymore. As of last May 7th, 2025, TSA began fully enforcing wide real ID requirements for domestic flights within the U.S. If you are 18 or older, you cannot board a domestic flight with just any Wawan driver's license. It must be Real ID compliant. Or you must use another acceptable ID such as a U.S. passport or passport card. This is not age-specific. It applies to everyone. But it hits seniors especially hard because many older travelers renewed their licenses years ago. They may not drive as much, and they often haven't kept up with new ID standards. Here's what you need to do. Today, 1. Take out your driver's license. Look in the top corner, usually top right. Do you see a mustar? Often inside a circle or inside the outline of your state? If yes, that's a strong sign it's Real ID compliant. If you don't want to see a star, it may not might be Real ID compliant. 2. If your license is not Real ID compliant, you can use a valid U.S. passport or a passport card at TSA instead. If you don't have either, you need to visit your DMV to upgrade to a Real ID well before actually your trip. Appointments can book out weeks in advance. Do not wait until the month of your flight to fix this. I've seen too many people arrive at the airport with an old license, only to be told they can't board. By the time they figure out an alternative, the flight is gone. If you're helping a parent or grandparent, check their ID for them now. If you see no star and no passport, help them book a DMV appointment. 2. Medical documentation. When you actually need it, you do. Not going to need a doctor's note just because you're over 70. Airlines cannot require extra paperwork based on age alone. However, if you use supplemental oxygen, you need medical equipment. During the flight, you have a condition that might reasonably require in-flight medical attention. You have very limited mobility that requires special handling. Many airlines will require medical clearance might in advance. This is not brand new, but enforcement has become more organized and consistent. Most airlines handle this with some version of a medical information, Jahamwar clearance form, often called MEDIF or Special Assistance Form. The goal is to confirm you're fit to fly, plan for any special equipment or seating you may need. What you should do. 1. Before you book or right after booking. If you have significant medical needs, call the airline's special assistance or accessibility line. 2. Say clearly, I have a medical condition and may need special assistance or equipment on board. Do I need to submit any medical clearance forms for my flight? 3. If they say yes, ask them to email you the form or tell you where to download it on their website. 4. Take the form to your doctor. Have them fill it out completely. 5. Submit it to the airline. At least 72 hours before your flight, following their instructions, email, upload, or fax. If you use a wheelchair but don't have in-flight medical needs, travel with common conditions that are stable, or simply move slower than you used to, you may not need a medical form just for that. But if there's any chance your condition could raise safety questions, it is much better to clarify ahead of time than to have a stressed gate agent unsure what to do an hour before departure. 3. Prescription medications. How to avoid problems at security. TSA's core rules around medications are not new, but security has gotten stricter and more careful, especially around certain drugs and liquids. Key points. You are allowed to bring prescription medications in your carry-on. TSA does not require your original prescription bottles, but bringing them helps a lot. State laws and airline practices can vary, and older travelers are more likely to carry multiple medications. So, being extra clear is smart. Best practices for seniors. 1. Keep meds in your carry-on bags, not in checked baggage. Checked bags get lost or delayed. Your heart pills or insulin cannot. 2. Original containers strongly recommended. If you normally use a pill organizer, that's fine for daily life. But for travel, ask your pharmacist for ide, also small labeled bottle for the amount you'll take on the trip, or an extra copy of the CONS prescription label you can carry with the pills. 3. For liquid medications, e.g. insulin, liquid antibiotics. They are exempt from the normal 3.4-ounce liquids rule if they are medically necessary. At security, tell the officer before screening, I have medically necessary liquids in my bag that exceed 3.4 ounces. They may test the liquid, inspect the container, take a few extra minutes. That's normal. 4. Injectables. Insulin pens, EpiPens, other injectors. Keep them in your carry-on with a prescription label or a brief note from your doctor. Not required, but helpful. Having clear labels and documents reduces questions, speeds up screening, lowers your stress at TSA. Part 2. At the airport, security and boarding. 4. TSA PreCheck and free accommodations for older travelers. Everyone talks about one. TSA PreCheck, and it really is useful. Keep shoes on. Keep light jacket and belt on, usually. Laptop stays in bag. Shorter lines, more predictable screening. It costs a fee for 5 years and many credit cards reimburse that. That fee is a benefit, but here's what many seniors don't know. TSA has special accommodations for travelers 75 and older, even in the regular security line. If you're like 75 or older, TSA may allow you to keep your shoes on, keep marked light jackets on, undergo modified screening. That is less physically demanding. What you can say at security, I'm 75 or older. I understand there are accommodations for seniors. Can I keep my shoes on? Officers are trained on this, and in most cases, they will say yes and guide you through. If you're over 70 but under 75 one, you don't automatically get those specific accommodations, but TSA PreCheck is absolutely worth considering. If you don't like standing for long, bending, or juggling bags, PreCheck can make a huge difference. Tip: check your credit card benefits. Many travel cards will reimburse one TSA PreCheck or global entry fee every 4 to 5 years, meaning you may not pay out of pocket at all. 5. Pre-boarding rights. Use them without guilt. This is a big one. Under the E-Air Carrier Access Act, airlines must allow passengers with disabilities or who need extra time to pre-board outboard early before the main groups. Before the main. Age, by itself, does not automatically qualify you. But if you need extra time to walk down the jet bridge, if you need help lifting bags, if you have difficulty moving in crowds, if you use a cane, walker, or just move more slowly, you do qualify much for pre-boarding as a passenger, needing additional time or assistance, even if you don't use a wheelchair. The problem is, many seniors feel embarrassed to ask. Announcements are often rushed or unclear from a crew perspective, I can tell you. We wanted you to pre-board if you need it. It's safer for you. It's easier for us. It makes boarding smoother for everyone. What to say at the gate? I need extra time to get settled and would like to request pre-boarding. You do not always need a doctor's note to give a long explanation, to feel guilty. You'll typically be allowed to board right after active duty military and families with very young children. Before the general boarding groups use this right. You've earned it. 6. Mobility devices. What to expect at security. If you use a cane, a walker, a wheelchair, a scooter, TSA has specific procedures to keep you safe and still perform required screening. What typically happens? 1. At the checkpoint, tell the TSA officer, I use a mobility device and will need some assistance with screening. 2. They may direct you to a different lane where your device is inspected, visually swabbed or scanned, and you are asked to walk through the metal detector or undergo a pat-down if you can't walk through. 3. If you cannot stand or walk through the metal detector at all, you can legally request to might remain seated in your wheelchair. TSA will then do a seated pat-down and additional screening of the chair. The key phrase, if you can't stand, I need to remain seated for screening due to mobility limitations. If there is ever confusion or pushback, calmly ask to speak with a Saudi TSA supervisor. Supervisors are trained on disability accommodations and can help correct misunderstandings. Additional tip, if you have a collapsible wheelchair or walker, collapsing it. Before knowing, you reach security, with help if needed, speeds things up, it can go through the X-ray belt more easily. Part 3. Accessibility and Special Services. 7. Wheelchair assistance. Why you must request it early if you need wheelchair assistance. Inside the airport. From check-in to gate, between gates on a connection, from gate to baggage claim on arrival, do a not. Wait until you arrive at the airport to ask. Airlines contract with wheelchair service companies. Those companies staff their teams based on advance requests. If you show up with no request in your booking, they will try to help, but you might wait 20-30 minutes or more. In worst cases, you can miss a flight. What to do? 1. When booking online, look for special services or accessibility requests, and check the option for wheelchair assistance. 2. When booking by phone, say, I need wheelchair assistance from check-in to the gate and from the gate to baggage claim on arrival. 3. If you already have a booking, call the airline and add wheelchair assistance at least 48 hours before our departure. Important. In the U.S., wheelchair assistance is free under the Air Carrier Access Act. You are not charged a fee for requesting it. Tipping wheelchair attendants is optional. Common in practice, but not required. From a crew and safety perspective, we would much rather but you use wheelchair assistance than exhaust yourself trying to walk long distances in a huge terminal. 8. Invisible disabilities. Your rights even if you look fine. Not every disability is visible. You might have chronic pain, arthritis, breathing problems, anxiety in crowds or small spaces, memory or cognitive challenges. These conditions are real and can make airports and flying extremely stressful. You still have the right to request extra time, ask for assistance through security, request pre-boarding, ask for seating that accommodates your condition within reason and safety rules. The Air Carrier Access Act protects visible and invisible disabilities. What to say? I have a disability that isn't obvious and I need specific accommodation. Examples. I have severe arthritis and need extra time to board and store my bag. I have serious anxiety in crowds and need help getting through security calmly. I have a bladder condition and need to sit close to the bathroom. Airlines must provide reasonable accommodations. That means pre-boarding, reasonable, extra time, reasonable, assistance navigating the airport, reasonable, forcing a seat swap into an exit row if you don't meet exit row requirements. Not reasonable. Exit rows have strict safety rules. Speak up. Gate agents and crew cannot guess your needs just by looking at you. 9. Companion seating and staying together. If you're over 70 and traveling with a spouse, an adult child, a companion who helps you, it can be very stressful to be seated far apart, especially if you need help putting bags up, need reminders for meds, need assistance getting up during the flight. Here's what you can do. 1. Choose seats early. When you book, even if there is a fee. For seniors needing support, paying for a specific seat can be worth the cost. 2. If you didn't pre-select, arrive early and ask the check-in agent, gate agent. I'm over 70 and traveling with my daughter's spouse, but who assists me. Can you seat us together? By airlines will, off and cost one, work to seat a helper next to a senior, especially if they understand it's an assistance issue, not just a preference. Note, airlines cannot always move other paid seat assignments, especially in premium cabins or fully booked flights. But they can frequently rearrange within the same cabin to help keep an older passenger with their companion. 10. Traveling with oxygen, CPAP, and other medical equipment. If you travel with a CPAP machine, for sleep apnea, AQS, portable oxygen concentrator, POC, other essential medical devices, a few extra steps will keep you safe and compliant. For CPAP, most airlines do not count a CPAP as a regular carry-on. It's often considered a medical device, separate from your bag allowance. Keep it in a labeled case and plan to bring it on board. If you don't intend to use it in flight, you generally do not need special clearance, but check your airline's website for details. For portable oxygen concentrators, only FAA approved. FAA models are allowed on U.S. carriers. You usually need advance notice to the airline, proof that the device is approved, enough battery power for the flight, plus a safety margin. Often 150% of flight time. This is an area where different airlines can have slightly different forms and requirements. Always check your specific airline's accessible travel or medical devices page and contact them well ahead of your flight. Never check essential medical devices in your luggage if you can avoid it. Keep them with you. 11. Connections and meet and assist for tight or complex itineraries. Older travelers are often most vulnerable when they have short connections in big airports. They have to change terminals. They're flying alone through unfamiliar hubs. If this sounds like you or someone you're helping, ask the airline for meet and assist or special assistance for connections. This can include nasiyan, an escort to help you from gate to gate, coordination with wheelchair service if needed. In some airports, a cart ride through long corridors. What to do? When booking or later by phone, say, I'm over 70 and traveling alone with a connecting flight in airport. I'll need assistance between my arriving gate and my departing gate. The airline will put a note in your reservation, so staff at your connection point know to look for you. It does not guarantee that delays or tight connections will always work out, but it dramatically improves your odds of making it through safely and on time. Bonus: the one sentence you should say to your flight attendant. If you are over 70 and traveling alone, one of the most powerful things you can do is this. When you board, look at the nearest flight attendant and say, "Hi, I'm traveling alone today and I'm over 70. I just wanted to let you know in case I need a little assistance." You are not asking for special treatment. You are giving the crew awareness to check on you if there's turbulence, a cue to offer help if they see you struggling with a bag, extra attention if there's an irregular situation like a diversion or medical event nearby. We're not going to hover over you or treat you like a child. But in an emergency or when things get hectic, that simple sentence can be the difference between struggling silently or having someone already thinking, "I should check on seat 14C. She told me she's alone." You are the reason crews do what they do. Your safety and comfort are not an afterthought. Don't be afraid to advocate for yourself. These accommodations and services exist for you. You've earned them. Use them. Recap and closing. We've just covered a lot, so let's quickly recap the most important points. Check your ID now. Real ID or passport for domestic flights. Know when you need medical clearance. And talk to your airline in advance if you use oxygen or have serious conditions. Carry medications properly. Prefer original labels, keep them in your carry-on, declare necessary liquids. Use TSA accommodations. For seniors, and consider TSA PreCheck. Ask for pre-boarding. If you need extra time, without guilt. Understand mobility device screening, and your right to be screened seated if needed. Request wheelchair assistance. And meet and assist services at least 48 hours before your flight. Use your rights for invisible disabilities. You don't have to look disabled to get help. Work with agents to stay seated with your companion when assistance is needed. Handle CPAPs, oxygen, and medical devices according to airline policies. And bring them on board. Tell the flight crew you're over 70 and traveling alone, so they can keep an extra eye out when it matters. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What's your biggest concern, Dasom? About flying as a senior traveler? Security lines, long walks in the airport, managing medications, using wheelchairs or oxygen? Share in the comments. I read them and they helped me decide what to cover next. If this video helped you, please share it with someone who needs it. Your parents, grandparents, a neighbor, or a friend planning a trip. Subscribe to Mama Immigration Updates Hub and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos on travel requirements, immigration rules, airport tips, and ways to protect both your status mominai and your travel plans. Thank you for spending your time here with Immigration Updates. Habiamo, stay informed, stay prepared. And whether you're 70, 80, or 90, keep traveling with confidence and on your own terms. I'll see you in the next video with more updates, more insights, and more tools to help you and your loved ones travel safely and securely. With new 2026 airport rules, one small mistake can get you denied boarding. Watch until the end to learn 11 must-know changes: Real ID, medications, security, pre-boarding, wheelchair assistance, and hidden passenger rights that can save your trip.